Uh, I think everything is okay. My voice and the video is okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ersin Caglar in European University of Lefke. The presentation topic is Digital Ethics Boards, a new strategic model proposal for corporate governance in the age of AI based on case studies. Let's move on. So the presentation flow, the contents, introduction, literature review and theory, just a little bit explain the literature review about digital ethics and case analysis. I have 3 case studies, analysis, 2 failure one and 1 successful one, and propose the digital ethic board model, and the last one is sustainability and results. Let's move on. Introduction, rise and risks of artificial intelligence in the corporate world. So artificial intelligence has now transcended being merely a tool for automation and has become central to corporate strategic decision-making process. So this transformation, however, is creating critical ethical and governance gaps, as everyone knows, by the way. So algorithmic bias, which is model based on historical data, can lead to systematic discrimination, producing unfair outcomes in critical areas such as recruitment, credit rating, and judiciary. So black box problem, I think everyone knows this issue, and this is a little bit critical one. So the decision-making mechanism of deep learning models are becoming inexplicable. So this directly violates the principles of accountability and auditability. So data privacy vulnerability is, the systems with their extensive personal data processing requirements directly conflict with GDPR and similar regulations, increasing the risk of corporate exposure. So AI leadership is no longer just about technical efficiency, it's about ethical governance. So the inadequacy of traditional management and strategic gap. Current enterprise IT governance frameworks are designed for static and linear process. In contrast, artificial intelligence systems exhibit dynamic learning and environmentally dependent structures. This structural mismatch creates a critical strategic gap. So let's a little bit discuss the traditional IT governance, which is focused on linear, predictable workflows, operates with defined rule sets and based on COVID and ITIL frameworks, and focus on technical compliance and auditing. So human ethical dimension is neglected. The requirements of our AI governance, so monitoring of dynamics, learning and evolving systems, monitoring of data drift and model deviation, integration of ethics, law, and social sciences, and ethical risk management at the C-suite level, which is the top level independent corporate mechanism. So senior management, which is C-level, finds itself caught in an increasingly complex gravitational field between the pressure for innovation and ethical or legal risk, whatever. So the need for a structural mechanism to bridge this gap is now urgent. Let's move on to legislative impact, which is European Union. The European Union Artificial Intelligence Act has transformed AI governance from a voluntary corporate responsibility into a mandatory legal obligation. This law is a landmark regulation with the potential to create a binding effect on a global scale. So let's talk about the 3 things, which is risk-based classification, severe financial sanctions, and mandatory transparency. So risk-based classifications, a 4-tiered risk hierarchy envisioned consists of prohibited, high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk. So severe financial sanctions, in case of non-compliance, administrative fines of up to 7% of global turnover are foreseen. Mandatory transparency, registration, documentation, and human supervision requirements are being introduced for high-risk AI systems. The last one, from voluntary to sleeping, AI ethics are no longer just a showcase for corporate social responsibility. They are a direct part of legal compliance and corporate risk management. So let's talk about the literature. theoretical framework, a meta-analysis conducted by Jobin, and I cited in reference at the end of the slides, as you see, I don't know, on it 4 global ethic documents revealed that 5 universal principles were repeated across all frameworks. These principles form the theoretical basis of our digital ethical boards model. So we talk about transparency, ensuring that AI decisions are explainable, predictable, and understandable is a fundamental safeguard against the black box problem. Justice and equality. Algorithm outputs must not contain discrimination based on gender, race, or socioeconomic status. Do not cause harm, minimizing the potential for individual and social harm from AI systems starting from the design phase. Responsible accountability, clearly define who is accountable to which authority for which decision. And privacy compliance with the principles of individual consent and data minimization in the collection, processing, and storage of personal data. So let's form technological management quickly. The fundamental question is no longer how can AI be used, but rather be whose decision, under whose control, and within what limits. And the main frameworks like OBIT and ITIL offer value for static process control. However, these frameworks are structurally inadequate in the face of AI-specific risks, such as data drift, model decay, and unexpected social impacts. So the need for specialized institutional bodies arises from this gap. Let's quickly move on to case studies. Maybe I'm a little bit quick because, as everyone knows, we have not too much time. Just I want to clear everything and explain everything in 15 minutes. So let's move on to case study 1. Crisis summary. Amazon developed a machine learning system to automate its resume review process between 2014 and 2018. The system was trained on 10 years of historical hiring data, largely composed of male candidates. So the system systematically logged the ranking of resumes containing the word woman. Amazon discontinued the system, but the damage had already been done. So key takeaways: social blindness, reproduction of historical bias, lack of multidisciplinary oversight, and delay in intervention. And so the development of AI by isolated technical teams lacking ethical oversight produced systemic corporate harm. So let's move on to case study 2, which is Google. So crisis summary: Google established the Advanced Technology External Advisory Council in March 2019. The board was dissolved just a week after its creation due to controversial member appointments, lack of transparency, and internal stakeholder consensus. So dynamic of failure, external positioning, stakeholder mismatch, ethic washing, and lack of veto power. So when ethics committees are established without being internalized into the corporate culture, they instantly lose legitimacy and accelerated the erosion of trust. So let's quickly discuss the successful model. So Microsoft has institutionalized AI governance with the integrated two-tier architecture, which is layer 1, AETR committee, AI ethics and effects in engineering and research. Sorry, multidisciplinary advisory board, and layer 2, office of responsibility, which is responsibility AI, which is the policy enforcement and compliance unit. Sorry again. The strength of the Microsoft model lies into the fact that advisory and implementation authority operates in a separate but coordinated manner. The tangible veto power elevates the model from a symbolic one-to-one corporate legitimacy. So this is the, sorry again. So this is the table of comparative cases analysis. There's 3 cases here, and 2 of them unsuccessful, and the Microsoft is going to be successful, as you see. Let's move on. So this is going to be a proposed model for digital ethic board structure. And there's a 5 steps here. Chief Information or Data Officer, which is technology, strategy, and AI infrastructure perspective, technical feasibility assessment, law compliance with the EU, European Union AI Act, GDPR, and local legislation and legal exposure management. Ethics expert, which is human and social scientist, algorithmic justice, and social impact analysis. And Chief Risk Officer, corporate risk assessment, monitoring of high-risk project portfolios. Independent academic, external academic advisor, prevention of institutional conflict of interest, scientific legitimacy. So DAP functionality depends as much on multidisciplinary as it does on the independence of its members. It is essential to work according to ethical principles, not institutional hierarchy. And the operational workflow is going to design, development, and distribution. So DEB decision-making process is structured in 3 critical phases parallel to the life cycle of an AI project. Real veto power, which is DEB, can halt high-risk projects if ethical standards are not met. Conditional approval grants approval for feature use by requiring risk mitigating measures and additional assurance. Continuous monitoring in live systems, model deviations, and unexpected social effects are periodically monitored. And not last slide, but I'm going to close to the end, sorry. So DAB strategic position in the governance scheme, board of directors, as you see, CEO, digital ethics boards, and under that board, there's departments related with IT, finance, marketing, and law. So their position within the corporate hierarchy is crucial for its dependence and effectiveness. To prevent conflicts of interest, it is mandatory for it to report directly to the board of directors and CEO, not to the IT or another department. So why should DP be independent? Reporting to IT, risk of being subject to technology interests. Reporting to law, risk of being concentrated solely on compliance. Reporting to the CEO, strategic influence and real authority. So institutional achievements of independence, decision-making free from conflicts of interest, increased investor and regulatory confidence, alignment of ethical decision with long-term corporate strategy. And sorry, and the resultant contribution, the Digital Ethics Board is not merely a compliance tool. It is a strategic safeguard for corporate sustainability and corporate advantage. So avoiding legal sanctions, with protection from global turnover penalties of up to 7% and legal proceeding under the EU AI Act. Protection of the investments projects that haven't undergone ethical review faced risk of sudden shutdown. DEB eliminates this risk during the design phase, building trust capital. Sustainable corporate reputation and credibility are established in the eyes of stakeholders, customers, and regulators. Strengthening ESH performance. AI governance directly improves environmental, social, and governance scores, thereby increasing the attractiveness of corporate investment. In the algorithmic economy, the key to corporate sustainability is responsible AI leadership. DEB is the corporate guarantee of this leadership. And thank you for everyone, and see you next week in the presentation